Hey YouTube, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk about items that I think are a necessity for you to take on your scooter Cannonball run. My name is Steven. I went in July 2021 on the scooter Cannonball ride from Bar Harbor, Maine to Eureka, California over 10 days. I rode over 4,500 miles on a 150cc 2014 Piaggio Fly. It was an adventure, and here's what I think are must-have items. First of all, for your bike, I would carry an extra quart of oil with you in the bike in case during the ride or something you start leaking oil, you can top it off. Never want to run your bike without oil. Always carry an extra quart. I also carried a funnel with me so that I could fill up if I needed to during the day. Separately, in one of the laundry trucks, I had a tote that I paid for, and I carried more quarts of oil that were sealed and unopened because I did an oil change during the run. But in addition to that, I also carried a quart of oil on me in the scooter at all times. Number two, gas. My scooter has a 1.5 gallon tank, and I bought a 1.25 quick pour gas can. I think I got it from Walmart or Farm and Fleet or something for about 20 bucks. And at all times I had at least a gallon of gas in that thing. So when you are in the mountains, when you are running WOT, which stands for wide open throttle, like the whole time, your scooter will not get as good a gas mileage as you normally do if you're just putting around town going like, 25 to 40 or 45, right? Like, you're just not as efficient. So you do not want to get stuck out in the middle of nowhere with no gas. So as a cheap insurance policy, I would always carry extra gas. You can also get those MSR bottles and fill up gas in those little things. It's a little more compact. They hold a little bit less. Many people had the 1 gallon or 1.25 gallon red gas cans. If you're a more serious rider and you want to try to win it, you can get a bigger tank, and then you can actually duct it into your gas tank so you can just keep on riding the whole time, not have to stop and fill up. But extra gas, definitely. Next, I would say you need at least one spare tire, and because you'll have to replace your rear tire. Could you make it the whole way? And yeah, you probably could if you started with a brand new one. But I know I replaced both my rear and my front tire about halfway through the run. Front one really didn't need it, but rear one was getting close. So many people replace at least one of their tires during the run. So I'd recommend having at least one spare rear tire that you can do. Some people had the tire already mounted on a rim. But many did not, so people helped each other in the parking lots, and you got the old one off the rim, put on the new one, pumped it up, and you were good to go. Next, I did not use these things, but I had them with me: a new belt and rollers and shoes. I took off my CVT cover thing and looked at my belt about halfway through. A guy who owned a mechanic shop who was doing the run too, he said belt looked fine, so I did not end up replacing my belt or my rollers. But if your belt busts, you're going to be out of luck. So cheap insurance to get a belt, rollers, and shoes, and have that with you and ready in case you need to do it. Many people replace their belt and rollers during the run. It's up to you and your own discretion and scooter if yours needs to be done, but again, cheap insurance. Next up, I want to move into things for your comfort during the ride. Things I would not do this without. Number one, a windscreen. You get beat up going 4,500 miles over 10 days. In the mornings, guys, it is cold. People are shivering, okay? It is cold. And in the afternoons, it's crazy hot, especially out in the desert. So windscreen, I started off without one, but then I got a super big one that covered all of me, and then I ended up crashing, and then I didn't have one for the end of the ride. But if I were to do it again, I'd get one that's a foot tall, a half height one that just covers my shoulders and chest, and then and not my helmet, so that I can duck down behind it if I want to, or I can pick my head up and look over it. That would be my ideal. So if you can find one that's like that medium height, that would be perfect. Strongly recommend you get a windscreen, both for your comfort, and just mostly for your comfort. It might slow you down a little bit in terms of your miles per hour, but what it'll make up for in comfort will more than cover that, so it'll be worth it. Number 2, throttle lock. Your hand for 45 miles, if you're clamped down and cranked back like this gets sore and old and boring and like not good. So I bought a throttle lock on Amazon for like 10 bucks. It's basically just a glorified clamp. Strongly recommend that you get one of those. Next, during the day, you need to have sunglasses, okay? If your helmet does not have a visor that has that's like shaded, you need to have sunglasses. Also, during the day, my sunglasses would start to pinch back behind my head here because I'd have them on for like hours and hours, and it would get uncomfortable. So maybe have a second pair or something different, or maybe have like a dark visor that you could put on your helmet so that you can take your sunglasses off. But that got uncomfortable, so there are times when it would be really sunny when I take my sunglasses off and just squint and ride like this because my sunglasses were bothering me because they were pinching. Next, sunblock. Yes, if you're going to be totally covered, then you might not need the sunblock. Also, I wore a neck gaiter. It's basically a tube sock with the end of the foot cut off, and I put it over so it covered my neck, but get the sun off your neck and stuff so you don't get old and wrinkly. Next, you ride rain or shine, guys, so you need rain gear. This is not only to protect you from the rain, but also to protect you from the wind. Like I said, in the morning when it's freezing cold, if you go out there and you're not wearing protective gearing or anything, like I was, and I put on my rain gear to prevent the wind from just going straight through my clothes and totally freezing me out. So you need to have rain gear for when it rains and when it doesn't, to keep you warm. Next, I'd strongly recommend that you get a motorcycle suit or a scooter suit or something to protect you if and when you fall. I'd recommend getting a full suit, the pants and the coat and gloves. I consider that a must-have if I did this again. I didn't have one and I fell, and it was not good, and I was pretty shook up. So I know that these suits have got vents and stuff that can make you more comfortable, but the benefit that you get for if and when you fall, in my opinion, far outweighs any discomfort that you might have in wearing it. So next, water. You're going to be riding in places where you're out in the middle of nowhere, where you could break down, where it's hot and dry, and it could be dangerous, and there could be no one else around. So staying hydrated, very important. If you're clear, you're clear. If you ain't clear, you ain't clear. Get it? So you need to have water. Next, earplugs. I bought like a 40 pack of these like pink foam ones for like smaller ears that I would wear, and I'd stick them in my ears and they'd expand and all that stuff. And for the first couple of days, everything was fine. But after a while, my ears got really irritated and sensitive with those insert plugs. So I had to go to Walmart, and I got these little it's like these little wax plugs. It's like a ball of wax you mold up and you just push it in, and it kind of clogs up the outside of your ear. Those were much more comfortable, and I wore those for the last like 4 or 5 days of the ride because the other ones were just bothering my ears so much. So I recommend that you have both types, and you can switch back and forth, because when you wear one thing for a long time, it might get uncomfortable. Or you could go the custom earplug route, but that might be more expensive. Those ones I got from Walmart, those wax ones, were like $5 or $6, and the other ones, the foam ones, again, $5 or $6. So for 10 bucks, you can be covered both ways. Lastly, I'd have some sort of riding glove or mitten or something. When you're in this position the whole time, sun's going to burn the top of your hands, and in the morning your hands are going to get cold. So a riding glove, in my opinion, would be very important. So that concludes my list of things that I think that you need to have when doing the scooter Cannonball. Hope that's helpful to you guys. I'll be putting out some more videos about my experiences, the highs and the lows of doing the run and things that I learned. So I hope that's helpful, and see you guys soon.